22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is BlackWestchester.com presents the People Before Politics radio show. We're on every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you that real talk for the community since 2014. And yes, we started a few minutes late, but we are here. We got a couple of guests this week. We got a city council candidate from Yonkers. I'm going to attempt to pronounce her name and not mess it up because she's in the other room. Subomi Macaulay, I believe I pronounced her name right. And we have an author, a black author, with a very interesting book that we're going to definitely discuss, being a black Republican in the Trump era. That is definitely a conversation that I definitely want to have, and I am looking forward to having. So we will have those two guests on later on. Shout to everybody tuned in already. Tanya Van Norman said, AJ, wishing you all the best. Thank you. Danette Chavez, what's up, Danette? My homie Doug McBride, what's going on, homie? Gail Baxter, she said peace. And everybody for tuning in. Thank you. It's been a busy week, news week. Dr. Bob is not with us today. He's out handling some stuff. Shout to all the candidates that are out there throughout the county getting signatures. Everybody's trying to get signatures to be on the ballot. Make sure when they come and ask your signature, they tell you who they are. Don't just sign them just because. And you can't sign multiple people. If you got to find out how many people are running in that district. And if you sign a ticket, you eliminate yourself from signing somebody. If somebody's running for mayor and they got two people running for city council with them, and you sign that ticket, you cannot sign another city council person's thing. So make sure if you only want that person running for mayor, you only want him or her. And you want somebody else for city council, you sign just the paper for them so you can sign the candidate you want for city council. Shout out to Monique James. Hey, AJ, how are you doing, girl? What else? This has been a busy week, and I can't remember half the stuff that happened this week. I know. Oh, so we had the We had the garbage situation in Mount Vernon. Hopefully we're through with that. The city seems to have found some money to rent 3 or 4 vehicles from Cleveland, Ohio. Some red trucks running around. We're not even going to get into Trump today. And we have the lovely Lorraine Lopez in the studio. What's going on in Yonkers?
What's not going on in Yonkers?
Yeah, give us a little Yonkers report real quick.
What do you want to know from me?
What's going on? What's new in Yonkers?
Well, the just like you said, everyone's canvassing, getting signatures, trying to get on the ballot. Democratic Party,
What's going on with the Democratic Party?
they're stupid. I mean, they're just stupid, and they think people are stupid.
So why are they stupid? Why are they stupid?
Because they make deals with they already got the candidates that they picked out that they're gonna run. They pick stupid candidates. They recycle candidates as opposed to giving somebody else an opportunity to run. And then they act like it's it was all the people. It was the people that voted for it. Meanwhile, not one district leader was allowed in at the meeting. It's the same shit I'm talking about. I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. It still bothers me.
So everybody, you said your mic was low. Your mic is up now. Lorraine, Lopez said the democratic process is stupid. If you missed it. No, I mean, that's politics. Unfortunately, I'm not advocating for it. I don't believe the recycling of the good old boy network. And, usually we say that, and it usually meant some white men. This is no matter, like in Mount Vernon, it's black people. They just recycle the same people. They want to keep the same people in power, and they keep their power structure at any means necessary. And anybody who comes in that is not part of that is a threat to their power structure. Everybody wants a title. People care more about a title, a position, than purpose. The reason why people, listen. Everybody can't run. People have been asking me to run for office. No, I'm not running for office. There's people that's qualified to do that. We don't need people, and other people are letting people talk them into running. They're like, the people said I should. No, 2 of your friends told you should. You should not run. We got too many people running.
Everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody wants to be a politician now. Meanwhile, they've got no experience.
Right.
They have no idea, what they're doing or how to get it done.
And I will say, nobody starts out with experience, but you still have to learn. Whatever you do, you have to do your homework. Whatever you want to be, you got to know what it is that takes that to do it. You got to study the charter. You got to study the law. You got to know how your city runs. And Lorraine gave a candidate the suggestion before. Start off as a district leader and learn the system, and then work your way up. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of things you can do to get involved. You don't have to just straight run for office. You know what I'm saying?
Because 2 people tell you to.
Right. Shout out to the Honorable Christopher A. Johnson tuned in. Donna Nolan is tuned in. Cicely Greaves tuned in. Tanya Davis. Donna Nolan said happy Patrick's Day to everybody.
Hey, Donna.
Kiss me, I'm Irish. I think I'm 1% not Irish. So I'm not Irish at all, I don't think. I have to check my Ancestry.com. But shout out to all the Irish out there.
Did you just say you had to check Ancestry.com to see if you're Irish?
To see if I had any. We have so many things. People are finding out they got a percentage of this and a percentage of that and a percentage of this. Let me just tell you. So we looked up. Somebody said something. I have to look it up. Do you know where the leprechaun really came from?
Yeah, he came from Yonkers.
No. The real leprechaun.
He was a real leprechaun.
They're black. They were black pygmies, and they were called they in Irish in Ireland, and they were the leprechauns. That's who leprechaun was, a black person. I looked this up yesterday because I didn't believe it. Somebody told me something. I had to look it up. It's the Tiwa tribe or TWA something. They're looking that up. They're pygmy, and they were short, and they were called leprechauns. Those are what the original leprechauns were in Ireland.
Did you know that St. Patrick was Italian?
Well, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
He did a lot of work in Ireland, though.
Oh, okay.
He really made a name for himself.
Okay. Shout out to Janelle O'Brighton. Monique James says slaves mixed with Irish. Yeah, well, let's rephrase that. Everybody mixed with the slaves. Like, we didn't have a choice. It was just like the Portuguese mixed with the slaves. Italians mixed with the slaves. Hannibal did go over to what's the dark part of Italy? The Italian people hate me to say that. The little boot part. Sicily. Hannibal did go over there in the elephants and conquer that area and had his way. So there are a lot of dark-skinned Italians over there, but you can't tell them that they got black blood. They will damn near be ready to kill you. They will deny that to the. That's why they're so dark. Hannibal from Africa, he came over there. And I don't know what years this was, and he conquered that area. And so yeah, we've mixed as the first people. We've mixed with everything. So you know. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Sharifa had a shirt on.
So
yesterday.
your name is Mick Woodson.
No, ain't no Mick Woodson. Yo, you know what? Yo,
AJ McWoodson.
Yo, I got a real Ancestry.com. Woodson might not actually be my family name. Yo. My family name might be Hubbard for real. Like it's like I am AJ Woodson legally, but I'm just saying my family name might not even be Woodson.
Oh, just like mine. My last name is Lopez, but it's really Alejandro.
Oh. So we found that out that technically I think my family name is Hubbard, not Woodson. My sister's doing all this Ancestry.com. She even traced us back to like 1820, and then you know I found out I'm 4 generations from slavery, 3 generations actually in Westchester, Mount Vernon, and New Rochelle. So yeah, waiting patiently. I know you gonna drop some jewels. Come on, AJ, stop being so.
I thought you said you weren't going to talk about that.
Let me get to the nitty gritty. I'm ready to I want to hear it. Yo, so no, I said I'm not gonna talk about Trump. That's what yeah, we not even wasting time. And I don't have Dr. Bob here to you know. So the big news this week, I'm sorry, man, there was, now that I remember, the big news this week was the firing of the Mount Vernon Police Department Commissioner, Sean Harris. This is the second police commissioner fired under the Richard Thomas administration, and then there were 2 acting commissioners in between. It was 3 years before we actually had another police commissioner, which is Sean Harris. So we wrote a big editorial because Sean Harris contacted us, and he sent us a letter that he has sent to Corporation Counsel Lawrence Picari, because Sean Harris fired, supposedly fired Deputy Police Commissioner Joe Spezio on February 7th, a day after he was stopped in New Rochelle for driving with a suspended license, had his lights on, making people pull over, was running through. You know, even when police have their sirens on and they go through lights, they're supposed to stop and make sure it's safe to go through. He ran through like top speed through lights, like he wasn't even looking at that. There's video of it and everything. Yeah,
but then
wait. So hold on, let me finish. So he sent this letter saying that Spezio had never turned over the car, the police badge, and his police credentials. So he is still driving, even though he is no longer a member of the Mount Vernon Police Department. He's still driving the vehicle that was seized from him from New Rochelle Police Department. He is still walking around with a police badge, a deputy police badge that he can pull out at any time, and his ID, his Mount Vernon picture ID, impersonating a police officer. So Sean Harris wrote a letter because New Rochelle Police Department basically sent a video of him running through lights and basically saying, yo, you know that's a city car. If anything happens, the city of Mount Vernon will be liable. Mm-hmm. So he sent this letter to the Corporation Counsel. Joe Spezio has not turned his stuff in, and he's been asking for it. And shortly after that, Sean Harris was let go of his job. Now, let me state, it is commissioners do serve at the pleasure of a mayor, and a mayor just can wake up and it's no longer his pleasure for you to serve. But this happened after he handed in that letter.
Wow, wait, did you just say that the mayor was pleasuring the
wow, you got jokes.
That's what
I said commissioners serve at the pleasure of a mayor. And, if he wakes up and it's no longer his pleasure for you to serve, you don't serve anymore. That's what I said. I did not say.
Can I ask one question?
I did not say the commissioner was pleasuring the mayor.
Okay.
That's funny though. That's hilarious. No. But I didn't say that.
But didn't that he had to rescind the letter under the direction of the mayor and Joe Spezio?
No, I'm good. No.
And the
What letter?
Retiring. It's what I'm.
Okay, so
let me finish the question,
okay.
AJ. Remember, you said that he got fired by the commissioner, right?
Yeah.
But didn't they retract that letter and Spezio ended up resigning instead?
No, Spezio wanted it to be said that he retired, and he demanded that. So then they manifested. The Thomas administration manifested a letter saying that he retired.
Okay.
Sean Harris is stating he fired him.
Oh.
Okay, so he didn't turn this stuff in, so he sent this letter to Picari talking about the liability to the city if Spezio happens to get in God forbid he would get into an accident or actually kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, accidents are called accidents for a reason.
And he even stated the law that
right.
it was under.
So then the city would be liable for any damages and open it up for another lawsuit. So anyway, now Sean Harris then was called in and told he was fired. He received a letter. Now this is where the catchy part is. His letter is dated. This all happened Friday the 15th. His letter was dated the 13th. But at the bottom of the letter, the Human Resource Commissioner had to initial something, and it was initialed on the 15th. The Sean Harris contends they tried to predate his letter firing him 2 days before he sent his letter as the commissioner to Picari.
My God,
grimy. If you go to blackwestchester.com, I don't want you to take my word for it. Go to blackwestchester.com. We have the actual letter to Picari, and we have the actual letter. Now, here's the other part of the story. In the letter, they're demanding that Sean Harris turn over all his keys, his ID, and his badge. And when he asked, have you made this request of Spezio, he said he got crickets. They didn't answer that question. So the thing he complained about, Spezio
it's
not
what's
doing.
Being doing to him. It's what's being done to him.
They told him to do ASAP. And we wrote this letter. We will be contacting all parties involved because we got this letter like in the middle of the night. I respected everybody's time. I did not try to reach out to the mayor personally and to the human resources personally because of time, late Friday night. But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I will be reaching out to the mayor's office. I forget the new press person. I have him in my phone. I will be reaching out to him. I will be reaching out to the new commissioner of human resources. And we will get to the bottom of all of that. So the other issue, well, that there's enough in that alone. So that's what we dropped the story on. And then the trucks, a lot of residents, okay, let me be clear. I'm not making this allegation. This is what a lot of residents have contacted me to find out. Because Joe Spezio has had various sanitation companies and has taken over various sanitation companies, a lot of residents want to know, is that his company that we're renting these trucks from?
Oh, snap.
I've gotten a lot of calls, I've got emails, and I've got text messages for us to find out. So and then we're going to follow the money and find out. Now, Black Westchester is not announcing that those are his trucks, but we're going to look into it because we've been asked
who the trucks belong to.
Who the trucks belong to. Because even with Competition Carding in Yorktown, that was another company. When they got the contract, then he did something and took over that company.
The name.
Same thing with Rogan Brothers. He lent him money that they could not pay back, and then he ended up taking over the company, making it RNS, and he took over the company. So he has other companies that he has taken over, and brought outright or taken over in any kind of way. So people
but didn't he file for bankruptcy?
When rich people file for bankruptcy, it's not to pay off their debt. It is different than when I say I am broke. Rich people have been filing bankruptcy, and he has the union that sued him, that he owes the millions of dollars and he missed a payment of. They're suing him because he filed bankruptcy, saying that filing bankruptcy does not get him out of the money that they are owed. So they're taking him to court to sue for that money. So that's another story. That's another whole story. So we will be looking into this, but go to blackwestchester.com and the story is, did Richard Thomas fire Commissioner Harris in retaliation for Commissioner Harris? And he said in a letter to Macaulay, if they didn't do anything about it, he was going to report it to the Westchester DA's office.
Yeah, I read that.
So now after that is when he got fired. So
did they give him a reason for terminating him?
Again, the commissioners serve at the pleasure of the mayor.
There's no.
So he really doesn't need. Like I said, it sounds funny. If it's no longer his pleasure for that person to serve, he can just be like, you know what, I want to go in a different direction. And they picked a new police commissioner, a lieutenant. His name is his last name is Scott. He's not the Lieutenant Scott that was on the show, Glenn Scott. It's not him. It's another Scott. But he has a new police commissioner now. And he said he wanted to go in a different direction. And that is his prerogative, and he appoints them, and he can unappoint them anytime he wants to. Like, that's just his right. So I don't think he was given I don't know if he was given a decent explanation, or the fact that I think he said on TV on the news that he just wanted to move in a different direction. Anybody that's down with the mayor and the mayor's administration, Thomas administration, is welcome to send me his statement or whatever the reason, whatever you're sending to the press, send it to blackwestchester@gmail.com, and we will report what it is that the mayor's position on this. But we will be contacting the mayor tomorrow and Tuesday to get his position on this whole thing. So there's a lot going on, and this whole thing. Well, we also had to do, and I don't really like to do this, but as you see, like with MSNBC and CNN, they fact-checked tweets by, the president. So the mayor, Thomas, again, put out a tweet this week that the MTA had no plans to fixing the several bridges that run over the MTA in Mount Vernon that are closed in Mount Vernon until Mayor Thomas became mayor. This is, in fact, provably false. Mayor Davis had worked out something with the governor and with the MTA, and the letter, and again, that's on Black Westchester, and I say you links, that not only is this letter on the governor's website, not only is this letter on the MTA website, the letter's on the Mount Vernon City website. So how can you make an accusation like that when there's something on the website that proves that what you're saying is not true? Like, you should know that. And you were city councilman at the time, so you should have known about this negotiation. So I just did a fact check and showed, what he said and what wasn't true. And we went through all of that. Shout out to Robbie, man. He said, what's up?
Robbie, what up, Robbie?
Yes. Shout out to everybody joined. Again, one last time, for everybody who didn't hear this before, it came to my attention that everybody whose name pops up, they don't always want their name announced, and some people just didn't feel comfortable having their name announced. So if you don't say, hey, hello, give a shout out or leave a comment, I may not read your name. It does not mean that I am ignoring you. I want to also give a shout out to Tracy Gardner. She made history as the first woman and first African American to serve as the medical director of Children's Village. We have her in the current issue of Black Westchester. It's on the streets now. The city of Yonkers, I'm going to try to take care of this week. The city of Sherrill, I'm going to try to take care of this week. But it's almost everywhere else. Any businesses that want a copy of it, because we have the small business spotlight, the small business appreciation, over 50 African-American owned businesses. Just reach out to me. I have plenty of papers. You can just come by if you're in Mount Vernon and pick them up for your store, your location, or just personal copies if you want. But shout out to Tracy, and shout out to her husband, Jeff, who is my cousin.
Yay!
Shout out to everybody that's involved. Without further ado, and one last thing. So in restructuring the paper right now, we're coming out on the 15th of the month instead of the 1st. So this paper just came out Friday the 15th. This is from the 15th to April 15th. The next one will actually be out on the 12th because that's a Friday. The next paper will be out April 12th. We may get back to the first structure, but right now we had to restructure and everything. So the paper is right now from the 15th to the 15th. It's going to be like that for the next couple of months until we, get back to the first. So you didn't miss the paper. It's out now. It's hitting the streets this weekend, and I'll be hitting the other places this week. Is there anything before we have our guest that I know you want to talk about this week? Anything going on? Anything?
I want to wish my brother in heaven a happy birthday, Robert.
Happy birthday.
I love and miss you.
Happy birthday to everybody.
And happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone.
Happy birthday to everybody who, on Facebook, you go to your friends and it shows you everybody on your friend list.
Yeah.
But in the last 3 days, between the last 3 days, there had to be at least 30 people. And I just went down the list. Happy birthday. I cannot remember all of your names. So happy birthday to you all. If you're celebrating a birthday in this period of time, happy birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Shout out to my cousin Richard Davis. What's going on, sir? Wilson Torrero. Shout out to Mary Moore. How you doing, Mary? Long time no see. Derek Lawrenson, Luis Cherico. I want a yearly subscription mailed to my home. If you can do that, and will Black Westchester be participating in the urban song? That's two things. Let me address both of those. Anybody who would like, we are doing subscriptions. They're $25 for the year to be mailed to your home or office. Email me at blackwestchester@gmail.com. Name, address, where you want to send to, and you can either pay by check made out to Black Westchester, or you can pay electronically through PayPal. I will give you the link and the address to pay. But yes, we are doing subscriptions. They are $25 for the year for 12 issues, from whenever you start to 12 issues. Luis, we haven't started yours. You paid. We're gonna start starting with this issue. Yours starts now till next year. So. You didn't lose a couple of months. We'll start yours with this issue right here. But yes, and the second thing, we participated in the circus for 2 years. They didn't actually reach out to us. I'm not sure if I'm going to reach out to them. We may or may not. It's just, we've been there, done that. If they're interested in our participation, we will participate. I don't know if I will have tickets. Well, because what they do is, they trade advertisement for tickets. And then usually everybody around the way buys the tickets. So I don't know if I'm going to have tickets. I will reach out to them this week. We'll figure it out. But if everybody tells me that they want tickets, then, I'll see if I can make that happen. Glenn Butler said, Glenn and Irene are giving a shout out to Black Westchester. Shout out Miss Irene Renee.
Hey, Miss Irene Renee.
Shout out to Glenn Butler, my brother. Definitely. Just checking in for a minute. We'll check on the archives. 4 a.m. here. Great session. Where are you, Cicely?
Where are you, Cicely? Yeah.
Where's 4 a.m.? Where are you?
You left me?
Explain this because it's not looking good, my brother. Look at the date. Okay, somebody sent me a letter. I'm going to look at that later, Monique. I actually there's five of those letters collectively, and they've been sent to me. I have not had a chance to actually go through them. They weren't, so I need to blow them up and read them. I got them before the show. I take a little break, a little nap before the show. So I did not see the letters yet. She said, yes, I left. Where are you, Cicely? Where are you listening?
Yes, I left you. No, don't leave me ever.
I want tickets like last year. AJ, please. Okay, I will. Stuart, Robbie Mann, circus used to be such a good time. Yeah, it's a great circus. The Universal Circus is a great circus. It
was an awesome.
We actually attended. Lorraine, myself, Damon, and Montika. We all attended last year.
Yeah.
And Damon and I were guest. Ringmasters. Damon came a little less late, so I was there by myself. But
I know I was there.
A little intro, and Lorraine videotaped it for me. But I like I said, I don't know what we're doing with the circus. The big issue was getting this paper out right now and trying to cover what's going on with this. All the candidates that are running. A lot of them want to appear on the show. We have one now, and it's trying to get the information for everybody about all the candidates, who's running, so people know who's running, and we'll know soon who gets their signatures and who makes it on the ballot. And we'll be locking down as many of the rest of the candidates after they make the
Yeah,
ballot.
because some people haven't even announced yet.
Right, some people I know are running haven't announced yet.
Yeah.
Right. You have to guess where. We have to-
I'm guessing you're in London or Britain. You gotta be in one of those places, Cicely.
I am already in Monday. Oh, okay, so she's ahead. So what time is it here? It's 6 something, and she said 4. That's 10 hours. So 10 hours is London, is the UK area.
She's gotta be in that area.
I think all the way to Germany. I think Germany is also 10 to 12 hours. So you're in the UK area, I would guess, because if you're ahead of us, you would be somewhere in the UK or one of the countries right outside of that. That would be my guess because of the time zone. If you're that far ahead. So with that being said, yes, 10 hours. Yeah. With that being said, I would like to introduce. Oh, did you anything else in the intro that you wanted to talk about before we get to the guests?
No, we're good.
Okay. So no, the UK 6 hours. Okay, Germany is 10 hours. I think, but I don't think you're in Germany though.
Is she in Africa?
No, Africa is. I think they're behind a day. I don't think they're ahead a day. Paris or Germany, I would guess is like 10 hours. But we're not gonna do this guessing game because we can guess all day. So,
well, Cicely, wherever you are, I hope you're having a wonderful
I hope
time.
you have a wonderful time.
And get back home safely.
So without further ado, we're gonna announce. We're gonna have come in our first guest, our first elected candidate running in the upcoming Democratic primary in Yonkers for City Council in the third district, Subomi Macaulay.
You said it right.
I'm just gonna make sure because I mess up I am perfect for messing up everybody's name. And you come into the studio. Can she hear me?
Yeah, she's right there.
Okay, come on in. How you doing? Any one of the 3 chairs you would like to sit in? Actually, sit over that side. Sit over that side. Because then I got the bigger screen that blows both bigger. So yes. So and since this is your first time on the show, let me
No,
give
he
you an
meant this
official, Black Westchester People Before Politics round of applause. And you are on mic 4. Please pull the mic close to you. You have access to the computer to plug into your social media, whatever you want to do. Let everybody know where you're at. Introduce yourself to the people.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me on your show. My name is Ola Subomi Macaulay,
Okay.
but everyone calls me Subomi.
Okay.
I'm delighted to be here tonight.
Okay.
I am a lifelong Democrat and a district leader in Yonkers.
Okay. And evidently a member of the same church that I go to.
Absolutely.
From what I hear.
27 years, Greater Centennial African Methodist Episcopal Church.
Yes.
And a member of a board member of the credit union.
Okay. So the first main question, why are you running for office and why are you the candidate that they should vote for?
I am the candidate that they should vote for because I have a long history. I've lived in Yonkers for 28 years. I have a long history of public service. I've gone through the Yonkers public school system with my daughter, a special needs kid, and I'm grateful for the assistance and help that I got from teachers, school administrators, and I'm proud to say with that help.
The guest is saying, can you pull the mic closer to you and so you talk?
And I'm proud to
there
say
you go.
with that help, my daughter is finishing up her freshman year in college. I'm also running so I can get affordable housing for everyone. As you know, the rents in Yonkers are sky high today, and people spend 70 to 90% of their disposable income paying rent. That is too high. There's so much new construction going on in Yonkers, and it's shocking as I go through the neighborhoods of the 3rd District, talking to residents, talking to concerned citizens, how sad it is that our young people who attended the apprenticeship program at Saunders High School, cannot get jobs with the unions on these new constructions. That's why I'm running. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about our children. I want them to get better schools, and I want them to get jobs in the vibrant economy that Yonkers is undergoing right now.
Now, I am quick to admit that despite what everyone thinks. I do not know it all. And I am a wealth of information because of the people I surround myself with. My co-host is a former Yonkers City Councilwoman.
Yes,
so when I have questions about Yonkers, one of the first people I go to is Lorraine. So Lorraine, would you have any questions about Yonkers, about that district, about for our guests?
Yeah, probably a couple of questions. Oh, first of all, who are you running against?
As you know, I'm running against Tasha Diaz and the Democratic Party's nominee, Dennis Robertson.
Okay, I do know that you're running against Tasha Diaz because that's my niece, and you know, as a disclaimer, let me just say, that is my niece, and that's who I'm supporting in the race. But that doesn't mean that I won't give you.
Yeah, everybody gets
a respectful interview. Have you qualified on the ballot yet?
I believe I have qualified.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you think is the number one priority for a city council person? Number one, you know, what would be your number one priority if you were to become city council woman?
As a representative of the 3rd District, having gone through the neighborhoods of Ludlow Park, Sunnyside Drive, Northwest Yonkers, Woodstock, the biggest priority is to improve the quality of life for Yonkers residents.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want me to keep? Okay, but
because you know Yonkers, you can ask Yonkers.
Okay, but
issues
no.
that deal with Yonkers. Like, I mean, I know some of it, but you know.
Okay, that would be your priority. That would be what you consider, I guess, your platform. What does the city council entail? The job as a city council. What does the job itself entail? For those that don't know.
When you are on the city council in any cities, and we're going to talk about Yonkers because that's where I live and that's where I'm representing.
Right.
If I get elected, you are the representative of the residents of that district. You are there to work with them. I'm all about being inclusive, not selective. You are accountable. It's about physical responsibility. It's about caring about your constituents. It's about being there when they need you because that's why they voted for you. Be it health issues, be it housing issues, they will reach out and tell you their concerns, their problems, and it is up to you as the council representative to solve these problems because it's not about you, it's about the residents of the great city of Yonkers.
We have actually a question from the audience so far. Robbie Mann asks, what about the landlords that are paying excessive taxes?
Absolutely. I'm happy you brought that up. I have served for 8 years on the City of Yonkers Board of Assessment Review. So I understand property taxes are a great resource for the City of Yonkers. So we have the residential assessment ratio, and then we have the commercial assessment ratio. And most landlords who feel that they're paying too much in property taxes, in New York State, it's one of 3 ways. You're either 1/3 overassessed, 1/3 underassessed, or 1/3 just right. And what you have to do is go to the city assessor's office and fill out the form. It's called a RP 504. It's an RP form. The assessor will give it to you and grieve your property taxes. And that's what a landlord should do if they feel they're paying too much taxes. Also, a single family home owner can also do the same.
Now for like areas of Mount Vernon, we have a lot of Mount Vernon resident listeners. We don't have districts. Where is District 3 and located, and what's the makeup of the community?
Absolutely. I'm happy you asked me that. District 3 is a very, very diverse district in Yonkers. It covers areas of northwest Yonkers towards Hastings and on North Broadway down back to Nepperhan, going through all the side streets, Roberts, Lake Avenue. It covers areas of Palmer Road. It covers areas of southwest Yonkers by the Pearls Hawthorne School, Sunnyside Drive, Cornell Avenue, by McLean Avenue, and it loops around. It's not a straightforward district. I have been walking and talking to residents of this district for the last 1 year since I made my intentions known.
So what are the residents telling you? What are the main concerns of that district? What are their needs?
Well, every neighborhood is different. When I'm on McLean Avenue, they complain that for them it's quality of life. Where are the garbage cans? And I think other districts of Yonkers have complained about that too. So once I get on the city council, my goal is to bring back garbage cans at every street corner. I don't believe that the streets are cleaner. I think we need our garbage cans. So in that area, McLean Avenue, the Irish section of Yonkers, it's quality of life issues. When I go down to Southwest Yonkers, over by Sunnyside Drive, Beechwood, Pierce Street, Radford, it's housing issues. Tenants feel that they have slum landlords. They're concerned that they're paying too much rent and getting nothing for it. So every neighborhood is different because I have a diverse district.
Okay. Lorraine, you got any more questions?
If you get into the city council, it's going to be redistricting. Are you going to redistrict your the third, bring it closer, a little more compacted?
I think it's too premature to say what will happen. I will work because it's not just my input. I have to work with other members of the Yonkers City Council to do what is right for the city as a whole. Again, as I've stated before, it's all about being inclusive. What is best for the city? Because
but I would think you would want to focus on the third, no?
Absolutely. I will focus on the third, but the third is part of the city. So we're working together as one group. We have to be inclusive. We have to say this third district, why do we want to redistrict it? Is it good for our residents to redistrict that particular district? So that's why we have to have conversations. I believe in accountability. I believe in having town hall forum. It's not just a decision I can make on my own. I must talk to my constituents.
Okay. A follow-up question from Robbie Mann says, I'm familiar with property grievance. You stated that you're running on affordable housing. Landlords pass expenses along. That was his comment or question.
I think his is a particular case, and it's for me, affordable housing, as I explained earlier, is the housing that the median household income in Yonkers can pay. The median household income, according to the 2010 census, is $61,000 for Yonkers. The income per capita, according to the 2010 census, is $31,000. So now the poverty rate in Yonkers is 5%. So if people are spending between 75 and 90% of their disposable income on rent, that number is too high. So go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, finish.
So we have to look at every case differently.
Thank you, Gail, for asking the question. I prefer that people leave comments if they're on Facebook in the comment section so that I can just read them so we can get as many questions in with the candidate as possible. What usually happens when we take calls, people want to do these long 5-minute intros before they get to the question, and we use, 2-3 those. You lose half of your time on just, the phone call. So it's easier and more efficient right now for people, like you just asked your question, if you have one, to exit there, and we can read it out, and then she can answer it. So that's so I prefer not to take calls at this moment, at the time. So who is Subomi Macaulay?
Subomi Macaulay is a resident of the great city of Yonkers, a lifelong Democrat who was born in Lagos, Nigeria, who came here as an international student, graduated, I have a degree in accounting, and then I have worked all of my life. I also have a real estate license, so I've done real estate for about 15 years. And currently I'm enjoying a third career as a human resources professional. Another listener, Luis Cherico, said, what political experience do you have? I'm always happy to say I have served for the last 3 years as the first vice president of the Westchester Black Women's Political Caucus. I served as the campaign manager for Judge Arlene Gordon Oliver, who ran for family court, and my candidate won.
She was on the show, yeah.
Absolutely. I am the publicity officer of the National Council of Negro Women, Westchester section. I'm a member of the Yonkers chapter of the Westchester Black Women's Political Caucus. I've been a board member of the
Wait, say the last one again? I'm sorry.
A member of the Yonkers chapter
Okay.
of the Westchester Black Women's
Okay.
Political Caucus. I have been a board member of the Untermeyer Performing Arts Center Council in Yonkers for 20 years. I've served on the Board of Assessment Review, so you can see I have about a total combined 20 years as a community activist. I'm also the treasurer of Sister to Sister International, a local Yonkers not-for-profit.
Sherrill's been on the show.
Absolutely.
A few times, too. Shout out to Nas Duncan, said good evening, AJ and ladies. Shout out to my cousin Richard Davis. Louis Jericho said, "Wow, yes, you do." As far as I guess have experience. I'm trying to. Let me get this in first too. And I try to get all candidates. For anybody who's seeing you for the first time, wants to know more about you, maybe even want to volunteer in your campaign or whatever. Social media, how do they reach you?
Absolutely. My website is www.ShubomiMacaulay.com. I'm a motivational speaker. And they can also send me an email at Subomi, the letter 4, the figure 4, ShubomiForYonkers@gmail.com.
Okay. Now, anything I haven't asked you that you want people to know about you?
I have to say, in this journey, as I walk through the 3rd District, I am so proud of our youngsters. I spent Friday with the Neo Society, a group of Yonkers talented artists, and the leader is Malik Yancey, and these young people are phenomenal. They do so much artwork on the 4th floor of the Yonkers Public Library at the riverfront. I've met the seniors at the Kohler Center and other centers. I'm just so proud of the talent we have in the citizens and residents of the city of Yonkers.
I'm gonna read Gail's question, but before I do, Gail, Lorraine has changed her party.
No, let me. I can answer for myself.
Go ahead.
Read the question.
Okay. My question, the race, and Robbie already said it too. Lorraine isn't a Republican anymore. Robbie already beat you to it. But my question, this is Gail Baxter. The race for the 3rd District is fixed. This is her comment. The 3rd person running is Dennis Robinson, who is endorsed by the Republicans to ensure the win. Lorraine, as a Republican, what are the chances of Subomi or Tasha winning?
Well, he was endorsed by the Republicans. That is the truth. I don't think that. I didn't think it was to. Well, maybe to ensure a win on it, but I think Dennis is scared, and Dennis is looking for as many lines as he possibly can. Because Gail, the chances of one of them winning is very high. Very high. I don't think Dennis has a chance in hell, to be honest.
And I just want to say, across the board, it's not uncommon. I'm seeing in elections for people to get as many lines as possible.
Yeah, everybody
so
wants
that if
it.
they lose the Democratic primary,
They're
they can
still
still
on the
run
ballot.
on to the general. So, like, I know that we have this whole Bloods and Crips mentality about Democrats and Republicans, but many Democrats have gotten the Republican line, especially because they weren't running a Republican candidate. So the Republicans will pick one of the Democratic candidates that they feel they want to endorse or get behind. So that does not mean that the person is a Republican. Like, you know, I'm just saying, because people say, "Oh, you can't."
But
trust
this
the-"
is a Democrat in name only.
Right. Okay.
He
Situation,
used to be a Republican.
Okay.
Now he's a Democrat, and now he's running. He's a Democrat in name only. He's going wherever the tide shifts for him.
Okay. Luis Jericho said, "Get rid of Spano, fake them, stay loyal to Spano loyalists. Oh, still loyal to Spano loyalists, then Yonkers will change. I'm not sure.
I know, we're not talking about Spano right now, Luis. We're talking about the third.
How did you feel about the term limit situation that just passed? I know that you were not on the council at the time, but what are your thoughts on that?
I was very
That's a good
upset.
question.
I was one of the vocal, outspoken residents who was at City Hall. A lot of people said they saw me on Facebook where I voiced my outrage
Right. Okay.
at that. I was very upset. I really think that Yonkers needs a fresh start. You need people who are professionals. I'm an accountant, so I know how to read line items on the budget. I've served on the Board of Assessment Review, and my community activism in Yonkers has just incorporated into my repertoire a depth of knowledge of what it takes to make this city work for everyone. And it's really two things: accountability and inclusion.
Another thing, since you mentioned the word budget, we've had guests on, Barry McCooey. I've gotten calls from Lionel Turner, both union members. There were a lot of, every year it seems like when it's come time to the budget, there's talk of firefighters and police officers getting laid off, teachers getting laid off. It seems to be something they go through every year. I think this year Cuomo, because he was in an election, came through with the 11th hour with some money so nobody had to get laid off, or less people had to get laid off. I'm not quite sure. Since this seems to be something that goes on in the city of Yonkers particularly, it's not the first time, and from what I'm told, that will be the same thing for the next year's budget. What, if you won, what would you do to help prevent some of these layoffs? Because I'm sure the people whose jobs are on the line would want to hear that in your district.
Absolutely. You know, budgets need professionals to look at them. You have to have a basic accounting knowledge to understand a budget. You have the revenues, you have the expenses. You have line items. You have to really look. Are these expenses justified? Are these revenues coming in? Where are those resources? Where's that money going? Follow the money, and you'll see what the problem is.
I'm changing the subject real quick. A lot of times, one of the things we do, a lot of times the jobs come up and people don't, it does not reach our audience. One of our listeners said Phelps Hospital is hiring, and the listeners can send a resume to rdavis15@northwell.edu. Again, Phelps Hospital is hiring, and I'm going to put that on blackwestchester.com later on today. I'll get more information, but anybody...
He said this...
Go ahead.
This week he's hiring secretaries and certified medical assistants.
Who qualify. Okay. So we will get that. Where is Phelps? Where's that hospital?
Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow.
Tarrytown. Okay. So for all the people, that's where it is. Any further information? Actually, if you have a question for him, you actually type it in the comment question. Maybe he'll answer it for you, since he'd be the person to send the resume to. Mm-hmm. So we'll get that information. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when I get those, I want to put those out there. One of the things we try to do is get jobs come up all the time, and our community doesn't hear about them. You know what I'm saying? And, we need the jobs more than anybody else. So I try to get those. Those are good jobs. Hospital jobs are usually good jobs, union, good pay. Once you in there, once you mess up, you in there. So, and there's a lot of opportunity to grow. So I just want to get that out there. Thank you, Richard Davis, for sharing that. And he said, yes, it's in Tarrytown. Okay. Any more Yonkers questions? You're my Yonkers professional. You're my Yonkers
I am, but I really got nothing. Nothing I really want to ask. I already asked whatever I needed to ask.
I'm trying to think. Like I know, like the term limits was a big deal because I got a lot of calls from Yonkers. I know the layoffs was a really huge deal. A lot of people were about to get laid off.
I know, but this year we have Nada Sage up at the assembly. We got the most amazing dynamic woman, Andrea Stewart Cousins, up at the majority of the state senate. We have Shelley Meyer. We have Mayor Spano going up there on a regular basis as well. Everyone's lobbying. I mean, there's a team of lawmakers up in Albany fighting for Yonkers, and if they do not come back with the money, then there's something seriously wrong then we all need to reevaluate who are we putting in office.
Right.
Because it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense that this year, they don't come through.
Absolutely. So, Gail had, I guess, a comment more than a question. Historically, the district leans Republican. That's correct. I mean, I'm listening.
Absolutely.
Y'all Yonkers for me, so y'all. The Democrat who was in office won his seat by 60 votes. Stopping right there. That just for all of y'all that say every time I hear something like that, my vote don't count, my one vote don't count. We had an election where
You only win by one.
Right. No, we have an election where city judge in Mount Vernon on election day won by 10 votes. When they did all the absentees, it ended up being 40 votes. So every vote does count. So get out, vote. So let me go back to the comment. It's a multiracial district. Dennis has had 8 years to reposition himself as a special aide to the mayor and a no-show contract with the city. The female candidates have a high hill to climb. Again, the fix is in. This is Gail Baxter.
I wouldn't give him that much credit. The hill is not that high to climb. It's really not. There's no way Dennis Robinson is going to be the next council member. No, absolutely no way.
Would you like to comment to her comment? Or
Absolutely.
think to it?
The 3rd district, as you said, is a very diverse district. We have 45% Hispanic in that district. We have other ethnic groups in the district, heavy Irish, heavy Jordanian population. But you know what? We're all people. That's the bottom line. People want a fresh start. People want things to work right. How do you make things work right? Accountability and inclusion. Get the people. If you're making a decision that's going to affect the lives of the residents of Yonkers, tell them about it. Don't just, quickly do a hush-hush 3rd-term limit. No. Get the people in the conversation. Make it transparent. We have to be transparent. Yonkers is a city of 210,000 people and growing. And the demographics is changing.
We 210,000. We're not
Absolutely.
up to there yet.
Well,
not
we're
according
very
to the
close.
census.
According to the 2010 census,
We might be
was
close, but we don't have the federal
195,000.
funding. Yeah, but
But next year, 2020, we will have another census, and the population is growing.
yeah.
I've done the data analytics. I've done the research.
But right now we don't have the 200.
We can't. So you usually
We don't, because if not, we would have had all that
state-
federal funding.
Right.
No,
they
the
usually
reason
state
I'm
what.
adding that
But they usually
15,000 more
state until the
people
next-
is because if you look at the waterfront,
I got
there
you.
are 17 buildings going up. On Warburton Avenue, 2 new buildings went up, 1133 Warburton, and all in that downtown corridor. So when all of that is completed, we will hover around to
And don't
With
forget
S-
all the people that got gerrymandered out
Yes,
of there
right. Yes.
and had to leave.
Right.
Yes.
But as
But
from a
conservatively,
position.
from the 2010 census, it's 195.
Right, then that's
Yes.
and that's the number we go with
Yes.
until the next census
Until the
as
next,
an
which is
official.
next year.
Because they say Mount Vernon has 68,000, and there's no way that Mount Vernon is not close to 100,000 people that stuck in there. People, but officially, because of the last census, it's 68 and some change.
Absolutely.
Now, you shared a text with me on March 7th about your opponent, Dennis. What's his name? Dennis Robertson. Can I read that? Could you address it with you?
It's your show, sir.
Okay, so I just want so your text was Yonkers wake up today. The Republican Party endorsed Dennis Robertson as the 3rd district candidate for city council. Say no to Dennis, who is truly a Republican, pretending to be a Democrat, who makes $40,000 a year at City Hall. He has a cleaning contract for City Hall in Empire City. He has done nothing for the 3rd district last time he ran. And many years ago, he worked for the IDA, and he gave developers 30 to 40 tax abatements, which is still affecting us today. And then, it says to sign your thing. So would you like to speak on those things?
Absolutely. I have been a taxpayer, like I said, for close to 20 years in Yonkers. I work very hard. And if I work hard, why should someone who is just part of the old boy network just come into office again after he has served the first time and did nothing for the district. I lived in the district when he first ran. In fact, he lives 2 streets from me, so we're both in the same area of Northwest Yonkers. And I want someone, I hold myself to a high standard. I hold myself accountable. I have integrity. And if you're going to represent educated and citizens of Yonkers, you must do the work. You must work for the people. That's why we put you in office. We didn't put you in office because of you're part of the Old Boys Club. We want you to work for us. Make our city better.
All right. So, one other person. Well, I want to ask. So you're in Northwest. You live in.
Yes.
Okay. I know Southwest Yonkers has a few more things that need a few more needs
Absolutely.
than Northwest.
A lot more needs.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
I'm trying to be. I mean, I don't want to say nothing really
Yes.
really bad, make the whole area look bad.
Absolutely.
But it's a need. As someone who grew up or lives in Northwest, how in touch are you with what the needs are in Southwest Yonkers?
Absolutely. My daughter attended Pearls Hawthorne in Southwest Yonkers. Today I spent the day, and I've spent the last 4 weeks on Carroll Avenue, Landscape Avenue, Park Hill, throughout my district, talking to people, because you have to earn the respect and the trust of your constituents. So it's not sign my petition, it's how can I help you get a better quality of life? What issues or what concerns do you have in the 3rd District that you would like me to bring to the City Council? It's not about me, it's about the residents of the 3rd District. That's what I'm focused on. How can I help you help yourself? How can I help you get a better quality of life? How can I help you with affordable housing issues? How can I help you to get better schools? Every year, this education thing is so personal to me. It's so personal. Everybody talks about it, but what are the solutions? Bring back support services. Make our class size smaller. Because if there are 33 kids in a 1st grade class, and there's only 1 teacher and 1 teacher's aide, the student to teacher ratio is too high. Let's look at what works. We have 27,000 kids in Yonkers public schools. I visited Palisade Prep the other day. They don't have textbooks. Are you kidding me? Everything is online or is Xerox by City Hall. That is wrong.
I want to ask one of our other next question from the audience is, what do you see wrong now, and what is your path to fix it?
There's a lot wrong now. It would take all night to go through the list.
Well, what's your top 3 or whatever?
My top 3, affordable housing.
Okay.
Bringing back more shelter services. As you know, the sharing community has closed. Let's bring back more support services so we can transition people from shelter to housing they can afford and keep. Because we're getting all this grant money. So better schools, better affordable housing programs for the residents of Yonkers, 5th generation, 6th generation, and improve the quality of life. For example, we just sold the old jail, and we moved everybody to the Caucase Justice Center. That jail is operational. And we sold the old jail. Where did that money go? We're going to bring multi-million-dollar artists to come and do an art show at the old jail when we have the talent in Yonkers. I met a girl, Stephanie, in South Yonkers, who went through the apprenticeship program with IBEW 3. Finished the apprentice program. And did she get a job in Yonkers with one of those developers? No. She works in Long Island. This is Yonkers born, Yonkers raised. She has not been given the opportunity to get a job with one of those developers. I mentioned this to the mayor when he came to the Westchester Black Women's Political Caucus Yonkers chapter meeting, and he took her name and number. So I'm following up with her every week because I want her to get a job.
Last question, is there anything I didn't ask you? Again, your social media or contacts so people can reach you.
My name is Ola Subomi Macaulay. Everybody calls me Subomi Macaulay. Join me, and together we can make Yonkers a better place for everyone. Quality of life will improve, we'll have better schools, and we'll have better housing programs. You can send me an email, Subomi4, number 4, Yonkers, @gmail.com. I'll go to my website, www.ShubomiMacaulay.com. I thank you for allowing me to come on your show. It's been a pleasure.
And I do have one last thing, too. Lorraine asked you, did you qualify already for the ballot? I think that was what she asked. You've been qualified by the Board of Elections. They've told you you're on the ballot?
I will be sending in my...
Okay,
so you're not qualified
you didn't send
yet.
it in? Okay.
I didn't send it in
No,
yet.
because I didn't know
will be
that
doing
anybody.
this
I didn't
week.
know any of the candidates in Westchester were qualified yet.
Yes.
And I just wanted to clarify that because
Absolutely.
I was like, you have to be one of the first that they actually got a
Absolutely. I
qualification.
will be doing that this week. I just met with my campaign this afternoon.
All right. Well, I thank you for taking your time to come. I thank you for coming on the show. I wish you the best. I'm following this race, so please keep us, sending us, whatever you're going to be at and what you're working on, and so I can continue to follow up on this race. And like I said, we try to bring you all the candidates that we can that are running, so that you, the viewer, you, the listener, you, the resident, you, the voter, can hopefully make a more informed decision at the ballot box, not vote for, just one person because they're a man or a woman, or vote for somebody because, somebody else is voting for them, or whatever the reason. But you know why you're voting for the person you're voting for, and we hope so we can have some more informed voters. The Democratic Party in specific as a whole, Westchester County and abroad, has taken advantage of the African American voter, and they kind of depend on you being misinformed and uninformed. So we are trying to be the balance, and we're trying to inform you. Who you vote for is your decision. I can't make that decision for you, but we're asking that you do get involved, do find out as much as you can about the candidates. I will try to get you the information so you can make an informed decision. The primary is what day?
June 25th, sir.
Okay, June 25th. So, 3rd District, y'all got a decision to make June 25th in that district. And I welcome you again and give you a second round of applause for your opinion. Thank you. And we have another guest coming in that I definitely, he has a book coming out, or I think it's out, I'm not sure. It's coming out. Okay, he can hear me. He said it's coming out. And I'm definitely, we don't have too many opportunities to have the conversation that we are going to have with our next guest. Being a black Republican in the Trump era. This is a topic that I am very interested in. And I want to hear from my brother, Peter Sherrill.
I know what it's like to be a Republican Latina in the Trump era.
I actually had her write an article for Black Westchester.
I'm being a Hispanic.
Being Latina and Republican in the Trump era. She wrote that article. So if this wasn't the title of your book, I would have already have you written the same article about being black.
Well, the actual official title is The Life of a Black Republican.
The Life of, okay.
In Trump's America.
Trump's America. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Now, when does the book come? Oh, wait. First off, it's not your first time, but let me give you a round of applause. Welcome.
Thank you. My pleasure, sir. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. And real quick, yes, Richard, the lady that we had on, Subomi Macaulay, she is one of 3 candidates running for the city council position in the 3rd District of Yonkers.
And the other two candidates are Dennis Robinson and Tasha Diaz.
Yes, and we will be having them on the show if they accept our invitations in the future. More candidates will be coming on after they officially make the ballot, but this candidate wanted to come on now, so we
Can I just do a real quick disclaimer? I don't want to speak on behalf of Tasha because she's not on the. She's got to get on the ballot first, and then let her announce and then she can speak on it. But being that she brought it up, the first thing out of her mouth was that I had to say what I said, which is I support Tasha.
And I appreciate that you putting that disclaimer out there, so a full disclosure. So we're moving on to my brother Peter Sherrill.
Yes.
So when, and I'm sorry if I asked you this already, when I'm reading comments, I got people hit me on my text and everything. When exactly does the book drop?
The book should be out in 2 to 4 weeks. It's going to print this week.
Okay, is it going to
Nice.
be an out of the trunk type of deal? Is it going to be you went through a publishing company and it's going to be in all the bookstores, or how's
Well, as you know, I've published several books myself.
Right, I think I met
that's
you
right.
because you published Lowe's
Moore's
book.
autobiography,
And shout to
yeah.
Lowe's Moore because I saw him somewhere on the shot. Check it, I think he's listening.
Yeah, I published Lowe's Moore's Ernest Richardson, who actually used to be fire commissioner for Mount Vernon. I did his story,
Oh, wow.
Poor Man's Lotto.
He had a book?
Yeah, Poor Man's Lotto, Memoirs of a Black Firefighter, man. That was an
I have
incredible
to, yo,
story.
Ernest, man, yo, you didn't tell me, man. I got to check out your book, man. What's going on? You called me about everything else. I ain't hear about that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I did a story about individual who used to work for Mount Vernon, who recently died from the respiratory illness down at 9/11. It's called One of Thousands, man. Personal account of the days of 9/11. He was there like right after the towers fell, man, and then the government didn't want to actually claim responsibility for the people who were really dying from those illnesses. And I did his story, man. It was amazing. It was a short story, but it was an amazing story, man. So I've kind of actually become skilled in this thing.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
man.
So that allows me to publish without being restrained and share information
Right.
that a publisher might not allow you to publish because of certain conflicts of interest or things of that nature.
So again, you do have set up so you'll be in all the bookstores and all the
Oh,
Barnes
yeah.
and Nobles.
Absolutely.
And all. Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I've
Barnes and
done a
Noble,
book.
Amazon.
Right. I've done one book and I did it out of the trunk, so I didn't have it in all
Oh,
the bookstores. But you had,
well, you
we was just doing book signings and stuff, and people had to come see me then, and
Well, it's nothing wrong with coming out of the trunk. And
Oh no!
Nothing wrong with it at all.
Because at
man.
least that money go to you. That you don't.
Oh,
split.
yeah,
you ain't
yeah,
splitting.
because
you're not
that-
splitting nothing after that.
That book game is I tell people that book game is almost as funky as
It's the
the
music
record
business.
industry.
Yes,
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 buddy.
yes,
Oh
yes,
man,
yes.
they are hijacking like 50% off the top before you even get started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I'm like, whoa.
yeah, it's interesting. So now, to the topic at hand, what is it like being a black Republican in Trump's America? Like, what is that? Like, first off,
Give us a
like,
synopsis.
yeah, because bro, for real, Dr. Bob is not here,
Right.
and he don't think no black people should be Republican with this Republican Party, and he would be
Absolutely.
giving you all kinds of analysis and the history of all this.
I have
He's not
history,
here to
too.
do that, so to
Well-
give you the numbers and stuff, but. So we need to hear why.
Okay, so it starts out like this. The transition happened in 2011. Okay, but the catalyst for it began probably with my disenfranchisement with black leadership in the Democratic Party during the Texaco racial discrimination lawsuit that I was involved in, which I wrote a book about that too, Black to the Future, from the Plantation to the Corporation, which I believe you're familiar with. Yes, which is actually in the Schomburg Museum Library, and I recently posted something about that. How Jesse, Al, and who many blacks in the community are not familiar with, Deval Patrick, before he became the governor of Massachusetts, they kind of finagled this deal with Texaco to have him be the chair of the diversity task force. And they automatically took $35 million out of the class for that task force. And then 1 year later, Deval Patrick became the head of Texaco's legal department, corporate counsel. And from there was his rise. And next thing you know, he was governor of Massachusetts. And I take great exception to that still till this day.
So do you catch? I see Trump.
Oh, God, Lord, have mercy.
And I can't imagine having an R by my name while this man is in office. And then I've had the same conversations with Joe
not
Pinion.
easy. It's
I've had
not
the same
easy.
conversation with Yonkers. Remember Joe Pinion, who ran for Shelley Meyer's seat on the Republican Party. being a black Republican on top of that in
Right.
this era has to be like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Well,
so share that experience with us.
the first
as only you
sentence in
can.
the book,
Mhm.
if not like being a black man in America is hard enough. It's tough enough. Now this country has gone and elected this individual. Thank you, sir. As the 45th president of the United States. And so because people now know that I'm a Republican, they ask me, did I vote for Donald Trump? And I'm like,
Did you?
hell.
Okay.
And then I put the expletives in my book. I'm like, hell.
Yeah.
And there's no way. But you know what? It's the same thing. It's like we automatically think that when you're a Democrat, in which we had this conversation earlier, we just vote for whoever that Democratic candidate is on the board. We just vote Democrat. And if you're a Republican, you just automatically, by default, vote for whoever the Republican candidate is. How can I vote for somebody who is supporting the alt-right? And I ask myself the question, it's like, but that's how we do politics. And that's how we think about politics. It's like, there's no way. I mean, I've been fighting racism and racists virtually all my life since I was integrated at the age of 8 from Nathan Hale School in Mount Vernon over to home school on the north side of town. And you know they didn't want us there, and they made it quite clear. And then, going to school in the South for college, in Florida, man, it was, I didn't even know, I couldn't believe I was in America still. It was like I was like in the 1950s.
It's back. There was been political correctness since then in the South, but now that we have the current president, it's like I've talked to some people that said, they have a white neighbor that they lived next to for 10 years. They've eaten at each other's house. Their kids play together, have parties together and everything. And they're like, who the hell is this person now that Trump is in office? Like, he just pulled the veil off it's like, you don't have to be politically correct. If you're a racist, you can be proud and state your racist views, and there's no repercussion at this point.
I wish I had the hard copy of the book so I could show you the cover, because the cover is the picture of the rally that they held at Charlottesville around Jefferson's statue. Actually, I got the rights to that from a young lady from Reuters who shot that photo, man, and I tell you, man, it's just unimaginable that people could walk around, gather with tiki torches, and there's no police. If there was, and I look at it and I say, if it was somebody black, man, they would have the riot squad, they would have the SWAT squad, and they would have the National Guard out there, ready to, and they would have been in full riot gear for us. And therein lies the problem. And in actuality and honesty, when I did make that switch, it was in hope of bridging that gap. And I became pretty close with some people in the Tea Party, and I began to learn things that I did not know, especially historically, about the Republican Party and its inception. And people may not realize, but they are the ones who actually legislated the Emancipation Proclamation. But, people don't remember that. They think the Democrats did it.
Okay, but I have to put, I hear that, and while that is true, this is not that Republican Party.
Exactly.
And this is not that Democratic Party that was in power back then. These are not the same Democrats and Republicans that did that.
However, if you, like you said, Dr. Bob would bring you all this history about it, and see, that's what happened when the switch, it forced me to go back and look, where did this transition take place? All right?
Well, Bob would recall that down for you real quick. He did just,
Oh yeah.
But he has that on the top of his head. He just came with the statistics, the years, everything.
And it may not seem like it's the same party. Well, with Trump, and they automatically just came out of the cornfields and just they got activated. But and also and just to bring out a point in the book, there's a chapter, and I think everybody ought to read this chapter. It's chapter 3, and it's called The Puppet Master. And there's one man who is behind this whole orchestration of activating this alt-right movement in the Republican Party. One man, and he's in control and owns a lot that is tied in, and there has not been one mention of his name throughout all these investigations or Senate hearings.
Okay,
which
but
I think is phenomenal.
I want to stop.
Wait, who is that man?
You gotta read the book.
Oh, snap.
I'll tell you
That
offline.
is,
I'll tell you offline.
you gotta tell me.
Oh, you will not believe this. It's amazing.
So, with hearing all that you're saying about Trump and his stranglehold on the Republican Party, how do you, as a black man, still justify yourself still being a Republican? For the listeners that really can't figure that out.
It's like, where do I go for? What is it? 8 years I've been a Republican now, and it's been an interesting journey. And it's like, where do I go now? It's like, what can I do to change the direction of this alt-right movement? And that is the challenge. Do I go back to the Democratic Party? There's just no way I'm going back to the Democratic Party. That is not happening. And do I become an independent? How much can you do as an independent?
How much can you do as a black Republican against the alt-right?
Well, that's one of the reasons for the book. You know,
I got you too.
I'm not trying to get you, but that is the that is the reason for this book, and that is why, when you offer me the opportunity, this is like the first time I'm like publicly speaking about this, and it was like, you know what, I was headed to the gym, to the steam room and the jacuzzi, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go see my brother AJ and have this conversation, because this is a conversation that needs to be had, and it is my hope, and it's my belief that this book, with the information that's in it, can actually change what's going on in the Republican Party, because it exposes who has orchestrated this whole movement.
I got that, but we have a president.
He's a
Wait, no.
Okay,
we have
go
a
ahead.
president who, going into the election, tapes like the Access Hollywood tape came out, and it didn't make a difference. A president who has publicly said he can go down on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody in the head and kill them, and nothing can happen to him. A person, there's no shame that you can give this person. There's no norms that you can do to make him change his ways. And he has a stranglehold on the Republicans who normally would be against these type of things if it wasn't him, but stand, knowing that it's wrong, stand behind him and regurgitate his propaganda.
I agree with you.
So
100%.
so I'm just saying, I'm not asking you to give your book away.
No.
What I'm saying is, how much power do you really think you, as a black Republican, your book is going to have? You're not going to shame him, and you're not going to shame the person. And they are the masters of fake news. I mean, they tell you the sky is green, and have 30% of the Republicans will be like, yeah, it's green, right? Like, and we all know it's not green, but it doesn't matter. So, like, there is no shaming. There's no exposing of anything that will change these people.
Well, there is one thing. See,
and he's talking about people with power and money too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Your book,
Exactly. Well, first of all, I will say this: the book, and because of that, the Senate and the House, before it got changed over, are absolutely a disgrace, and they are responsible for this whole disposition that's taking place in this country. And so one of the things, and I just, as a personal note, I dedicated the book to John McCain.
Aww.
And I said, you know what, I dedicated this book to John McCain because he is the last Republican senator with any decency, integrity, or courage. So I'm looking at addressing what is taking place as, even like, look at Graham, who was so adamantly against Trump, and now he sides with Trump on every issue that
Look
he
at
comes
Cruz.
up.
Cruz
Oh,
that
Cruz,
he insulted his
please.
family and his wife.
Everything.
And then
It's
he had to
disgusting.
beg him to come down and help him with his election. Like, and now Trump is the greatest thing, and he says everything Trump says.
But I will tell you one thing that will change even the Republican side of the aisle on this, and it's well in chapter 4 after I talk about the puppet master who's really masterminding this. Oh my goodness!
But let me stop you. I'm sorry, and I don't want to keep interrupting you.
No, it's fine. It's fine, AJ.
The things that you're saying and what I can't get over keep making my case. Why are you still a Republican? Your answers are giving me you're giving me bullet points on why not to be a Republican.
Well, actually,
with everything that you're saying.
Well. I'm just saying, for all intents and purposes,
you're making the argument for me.
Yeah, AJ. For all intents and purposes, with this person, it's almost like, we got to weather the storm, and somehow he has to be stopped in 2020. Somehow he has to be stopped in 2020. But that's another issue. But then at the same time, you can look at certain things that transpired in the Democratic Party while I was a Democrat. And it was like, we just kind of I was one of those people who used to say, I'm a Democrat till I die, until one day I stopped and asked myself why. And then when I started the first time it was brought to my attention that like Lyndon Johnson, when that name came up, and I was like, oh yeah, the Great Society, because that's what I learned in history. And then it was told to me, do you know that Lyndon Baines Johnson voted against every civil rights bill that ever came across his desk? And I'm like, are you serious? I had no idea, which goes to the point of you saying that a lot of times the Democratic Party want us to be misinformed and uninformed. And a lot of times as a Democrat, I just voted because the person was a Democrat. And then one day I kind of stepped back, took a look, and I began to realize that there's a lot of things that I did not know. And before 45, and as I began to look at certain things, there were just certain things that were taking place in the Democratic Party for me spiritually that didn't align with what I was living and believing.
So your answer was to go to the Republican Party?
No, but what I'm saying is pro-life became a serious issue for me, all right? Same-sex marriage is a serious issue for me. And these are the type of things that I was like saying, wow, we go to church every Sunday, and the preacher will stand up there in the pulpit and will speak about these things.
Yeah, but we have the overly religious people that are Republican that stand behind Trump.
Oh,
that were behind,
the evangelical right. Oh my God,
that
yes.
had nothing to say when he was separating children and half of the things he did.
I agree with you.
I mean,
and you want to know?
So we talking about religion as a whole. We're not just talking.
Yeah, I agree. The evangelical right.
I have a comment from Jeff Monroe. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Mount Vernon activist. He said, and this is a quote: John McCain was a racist war hawk. That's an unfortunate endorsement. And then he said, if Mr. Sherrill has a well-informed, sound ideological, philosophical grounding for his solution, he can share it without harming his book sales. If he's just here to sell books, and that was his comment.
Well, first of all, it's not. This is beyond just selling a book. It is far beyond selling a book. This is a book with a purpose, and it is intentional. All right. So I'm not worried about book sales. I am more concerned about everybody reading the information inside
Getting
of
the
the
message.
book. That is more important than anything else, because these are the things that will even make somebody from the alt-right have to stop and think, especially when you look at the detention centers, because you know what? This is not by chance. I will share this with you about the detention centers, all right? Now, the individual I was talking about, the puppet master, he's a billionaire hedge fund owner, all right? Now, what he has done is, one of the things he's done, he has taken the pension from the United Federations of Teachers to invest in the detention centers that are run by major U.S. corporations that he is tied into with his hedge fund and with Vanguard, which he just bought a tremendous amount of growth stocks in it. I'm just telling you that there's one person responsible for what's happening to this 2016 debacle.
I keep getting stuck at that's another reason not to be a Republican right now. Every time you say something, Robbie Mann's Republican, right?
Yes, he is.
Robbie Mann, a proud Republican, he said Trump is following Reagan's playbook. Actually, Reagan was the last white man that got in front of this country, said he was going to make America great again. And Robbie, that's what he was.
I love Robbie.
Trump didn't make that up. And Robbie said he wins 2020, talking about Trump. Louise Cherico said, so Johnson vetoed the Civil Rights Act.
She wants to know, did Johnson veto the Civil Rights Act?
When he was senator for Texas, he vetoed every civil rights bill that ever came across his desk as a senator, and he was one of the most powerful men in America when he was a senator.
As president, he didn't get behind the Civil Rights Act until protesters and black people, the civil rights activists, made so much damn noise.
Exactly.
So he didn't do, like with everything else in America, Latinos, women, African Americans, we didn't get these rights because it was the right thing to do. We got them because we fought and we made it uncomfortable. But Johnson did not go willingly into passing of the Civil Rights Act. It was something he had to do because if he didn't, there was going to be blood on the streets, and that was the only way to stop it. And he told Martin Luther King, and he also wanted Martin Luther King to be the head of that movement, not Malcolm, because he knew that Malcolm was a threat, so he wanted Martin Luther King to be head of that movement. But
so then with that said, why be a Democrat with that knowledge?
I'm not either one.
I understand it, but I'm just saying.
But I'm saying I'm not either one.
I know that. You told me already.
I'm an independent. So, but I mean, party. Not true. JFK was not squeamish. No, JFK actually fought for. I was talking about Lyndon. I was talking about Johnson at that specific point though. But JFK did something. Yeah, JFK did too much and he got killed. And then his brother tried to do too much and he got killed. They put an end to all that. So I still don't see, let me ask another question. So,
okay.
I want you to tell me what you can tell me about that title without giving away your book.
Oh, the title is self-explanatory.
I mean, but the theme, living. Say what's the title again?
The Life of a Black Republican in Trump's America. It's hell, bro.
I want you to tell me. Share with our audience something without giving your book, what that is like. Because you are speaking from a perspective that most people in this that's listening to me cannot comprehend or cannot, what you're going to say, they can't say because they're not in that situation. So what is that like?
Well, what is it like? It's like you alienated from your own people because you're a Republican and not a Democrat.
Okay.
All right. And then in Trump's America, you got people who are walking around that would be ready to lynch you, like this, and be at the picnic like the senator from Mississippi who won the election that said she wouldn't mind going to one of these events, a good old fashioned lynching, and it's like if I was ever at a Trump rally, those group of people, alt-right people, even though if they even knew I was Republican, the fact that I'm black, they still would probably lynch me.
So what's my man Paul Anthony? What's his name? Paul
Anthony Cuesta.
So he was a former Republican when he came on this show, and then he wrote something for Black Westchester talking about he thought while he was sitting at these tables that these people had his best interests at heart, and he realized they did not, and that he could no longer stand with them, and he changed his party affiliation. It's he's not Yonkers. Where he's here in Westchester. What part?
He's in Westchester.
Yeah, I know he's a black man in Westchester who was Republican, and I had a lot of these questions, and he was even defending some of the early stuff that Trump was doing. But he realized that these people, Trump. He realized that these people, like you're representing a group of people that you're sitting at the table that have no respect for you. I'm not saying that the Democrats have any more respect for you, but I'm just saying they obviously don't. They express it. They don't care about you. They don't care about none of us. How that affiliation has to, you have to be torn. It has to be.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example, especially, and that's why I brought that whole thing up about being integrated at an early age. all right, where the backlash from integration was tremendous in this country, all right, but King stayed the course with it, and look at the change, and look at where we are today, because he didn't all of a sudden decide, man, these 4 girls got killed, I'm going to abandon my platform. I'm going to abandon what I'm doing. Integration, we should never do integration. And he stayed with it, and now we are at the highest levels of learning in the whole world.
So are you comparing fighting for the civil rights as fighting for a black person in the Republican Party?
Well, see, I believe, this is what I believe. I believe that there's opportunity to bring change and integrate and bring inclusiveness into that party.
Yes.
If you change some of those good old boys who I am very familiar with, because I was dealing with them when I was in the Texaco discrimination lawsuit. I know what they're like, and I know how they get, I know how they approach things. I know how they feel. But I'm saying that, you know what? You just keep getting more involved. And I've had conversations, and I have some good friends who are members of the Tea Party, and I never would think that I would be friends with anybody at the Tea Party. Nor would I ever believe that I would have police officers that I am very good friends with.
Well, all police are not bad. There's a lot of good police out there.
There's a lot of good police. But see, that's what I'm saying. Until you get to understand and know somebody, it's easy to pass judgment if you don't encounter them.
You said you had a Tea Party comment. We had a Tea Party comment earlier. Louis Sherrill said, does he know that the Tea Party pulled up in a pickup truck and bullhorn demanding for President Obama to come out with his hands up?
That doesn't surprise me.
But
that doesn't surprise me. But see, this is what I'm saying.
Those are the people that inspired you to be a Republican.
No. But see, that group of people, the group of people that I met, they weren't from Westchester. I know they wasn't from the Westchester County Tea Party. They were a different group of individuals. Now, I will admit there were some people in that Tea Party that, boy, oh boy, they definitely sound like them good old boys in the South. I am not oblivious to who they are and the stereotypes and the belief systems. But what I had to do is to change that belief system, just like we did when I got integrated into the school system when I was 8 years old, and they laughed at me because I didn't know how to write script, because they wasn't even teaching us script over there in the schools on the South Side. But you want to know what? When it came time to do math, I was a genius in math, and they couldn't laugh any longer. And so you deal with these battles, you fight these battles, and you break these stereotypes, and you break these barriers of entry. It's always going to be a battle for us.
So how do you feel about the Republican Party right now would like to basically strip all the rights that black and brown people have, period? That's what it means to make America great again. They want to get rid of the civil rights.
To that.
They want to get rid of civil rights. They want to literally take away the right to vote. They want to nullify all those amendments in the Bill of Rights. I mean, that's their agenda. And the colluder in chief that we have in there now, his job, he wants to, if he doesn't, it's a fear. If he doesn't win, we could be in a civil war.
I saw that.
We could be in a civil war because of the people
real.
that support him will not let go of power. Like, we could literally, him losing could just be the brink of civil war. And that's dangerous. Like,
it's very
you know what I'm
dangerous.
saying? And this dude is on the level of, I don't think he's above, if I can't stay in his house, nobody's going to ever stay in his house, and he burns the house down. Like, literally, that is the type of person we're dealing with. And that's what it means to have the R by your name right now. Like, that's the head of the party right now who runs the party.
And he's a puppet. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Jeff Monroe said, okay, Mr. Sherrill is apparently a conservative, motivated by a right-wing point of view. He seems to have an emotional opposition to the Democratic based on his experience with the charlatans of the professional activist tradition. If, however, he is not just another person waiting for his turn to cash in on the exploitation that is the U.S., why is he not a progressive?
Progressive Democrat?
Progressive, period.
I am progressive. If you read any of my literature, it is well, like you said, maybe beyond some people's comprehension. But then again, it's very interesting. The fact that to be a pioneer, it's almost like being a pioneer. It's almost like being on your own to go ahead and do this. But you want to know what? Sometimes if you believe in what you're doing, it doesn't matter what the critics say. But you want to know what? When you change this thing, when you change it, and that's all my goal and intention and my purpose is to change this party.
I got one comment for you. Cicely Greaves.
Now I got a new ally.
Cicely Greaves said, bottom line, one must be in a place where they feel they need to be instinctively.
Absolutely.
It actually shows strength and character. We have to know for ourselves where we need to be. And coming to the close of the show, I wanted you to address that and again talk about when your book's coming out and where people can get it, and if there's a website or something where people can read more about it and pre-order and all that stuff.
Okay. The statement that was just made
Yes.
is probably head on and very accurate.
That's Cicely. That's
And
always head on.
only you know where you're supposed to be if you're living in divine purpose. Maybe I've been hanging out with those too long. Nah, but seriously, when you find your purpose, see, in life, everybody has a purpose and everybody has goals and gifts. And every now and then, it seems like every 5 years, I'm inspired to write something for myself. Like I waited and I wrote the book about the Texaco racial discrimination lawsuit. Not so much about what was going on in Texaco, but yeah, what went on in Texaco, but really what went on with when Jesse and Al and Deval Patrick came in there and basically raped the class out of $35 million. That was one of the things that I wanted to talk about. And then I was inspired to leave the Democratic Party for the Republican Party, and so I wrote a book called Exodus. Because, see, there comes a time where you have to leave the plantation, and it comes a time when you have to leave Egypt, and it's like, where do I go? Just like when we had to leave the plantations in the South, a lot of people left, and a lot of people stayed because they didn't know where they were going. And so sometimes in life, you are called to do things that are not popular. And if Martin would have listened to the people who was with him in Selma, he would have never marched on Selma.
Right. Okay.
So these are the type of things that lead you to where you're going.
I'm going to get back to the book, the announcement of the book.
Yes.
One last question from
Yes,
Jeff.
sir.
Well, a comment. First, I don't know if you saw the comment. Cicely told us she's in India a long time ago.
I know.
Yeah, and she said, yo, thank you for divine purpose. That's why I'm in India. Jeff Monroe, and I need you to answer this briefly, really briefly.
Real briefly.
If we look at Pelosi and Schumer, what they're doing to AOC, well, we'll see that there's no such thing as a progressive Democrat. Please briefly,
yes, sir,
describe what makes you progressive.
My intellect, my educational background, being a father, having children, one daughter who's graduated out of college, one son who's in college at Wake Forest, doing incredible things, just my involvement and concern about my fellow man and my fellow human being. And that is why the change has to come, and it has to come within the Republican Party, and this party can do great things.
Okay, and last, I want to get back to
Where's the book?
When does the book come out? Where can it be purchased? Is there a website or anything, pre-orders, or where people can read more about the book and contact you? All that stuff.
Okay. It's in the developments. The website's in the development stage, but the book will be out in, I would say, between 2 and 4 weeks, because it's going into production on Monday. I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to take to do the ebook and the hard copy, but it'll be out within 2 to 4 weeks. I'll be posting on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and keeping everybody apprised. It'll have a landing page. The name of the book is The Life of a Black Republican in Trump's America. It's dedicated to Senator John McCain, who No. Was he perfect? No. Are any of them perfect? No. Although he would stand up.
No, I give him credit for standing up.
I give him credit, and that's all I'm saying. Stand him up.
I didn't agree with a lot of stuff, but I give him credit for standing up.
I give him credit, and that's what I'm saying.
Is there a website? Like
no, the website
John
is in
McCain was
development.
a great man.
No, I just said I didn't say. I said I didn't.
He
agree
was
with
an amazing.
Right? No,
amazing.
and I just said I didn't agree with him on everything, but I appreciate.
Yeah, and that's where and that there's an underlying movement of Lincoln Republicans in this party, and they're quiet right now. But with people like my dear friend over here, we know what needs to take place.
So okay. Do you have a website where all your books are on? People can look at.
Well, my books are basically on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles.
Okay, you don't have like a PeterSherrill.com?
No. I just write sparingly for myself, and I just publish other people when they want to share a story, and that's what I do. It's just a gift. And
social media where people can follow you?
Pete Sherrill at Facebook.com, Peter W. Sherrill, Twitter.
Just spell it out too.
SHERRILL. I think ERRILL. LinkedIn. Where am I at on LinkedIn? I think it's Pete Sherrill on LinkedIn, and I'm Peter W. Sherrill.
Peter W. Sherrill on Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah. I have 2 pages, actually, a personal and a business page we're developing.
I want to thank you for coming in.
I thank you for allowing me.
I want to thank you for sharing, even though I don't agree with you on some things. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being bold enough to write a book about being a black Republican in the Trump era. You
know it's bold, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that takes a little something to do that.
That's pretty cool.
I don't. Again.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you being bold enough to write it. People, if you like what you heard, make sure you go out and get it. Even if you disagree, then tell them why you disagree. Thank you.
Read it first.
Thank you for coming. Right. I want to just thank you again for coming. And,
thank you, AJ, for having me, man. I really appreciate it. No
doubt. So when it's out, we'll send a link where it's out and everything like that. So
thank you, AJ. Appreciate you, man.
No doubt. Keep doing what you do, my brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So yeah, this is thank you everybody for tuning in. We got another 10, 13 minutes because we started late. Yeah. So wait, hold on. Let me turn your mics off because y'all talking too loud over there. No. I hope you didn't know. I heard everything you said. That's what I'm just saying. Like you were supposed to be whispering off the mic. So yeah. I just want you to know you weren't whispering too loud.
Somebody wants to connect with you.
Yes.
What, Cicely? What do you want me to give him? You know what? Cicely Grace wants to connect.
Okay, so they're gonna do that off. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Go ahead and go and write him down. Whatever you got to write down for him. Louise said I agree with the statement. People like Steve Smith don't know where to go. He quit the party over Trump also. Robbie said too late. Cicely said my phone number. Give him the phone number. So yeah, thank you for everybody for tuning in. For everybody, if this is your first time, this is blackwestchester.com. Presents the People Before Politics radio show. We give you that real talk for the community. I know a lot of people may not agree with the previous guest, but I just, I just wanted to show, I wanted him to share his perspective because when I saw that title, I wanted him to come in and defend it because I already know. You know what I'm saying? I already know that it was going to be one of those conversations. I'm sorry that my brother Dr. Bob wasn't here because he would have definitely gone back and forth with some historical data. That is what Dr. Bob does, and I'm sure after watching this and next week he might even want to make a couple of comments. What's going on? I don't have Brenda to tell me any events this week. She usually sends the future events coming up. Thank you, AJ. You're welcome, Luis. Shout out to my man Robbie, man. Yeah, I love my Republican NRA card carrying brother Robbie, man.
Robbie Man, the bomb.
There's always going to be. And yeah, he said good luck with the book, very cleverly labeled. Yeah, it's just I love having conversations with Robbie. You're always gonna get definitely an interesting perspective, but you know what I'm saying, you know, he's always willing to dialogue on whatever the topic, even though in those topics a lot of times we are not going to agree, but he's willing to have those conversations where a lot of people who are in his position are not willing to have that conversation with somebody who look like me. So I give him that credit,
and he stands by his principles.
Right. So I got to respect that, even though again I don't agree with you most of the time, or a lot of the time. But yo, you're my man though. You know what I'm saying? Like I respect you for standing on what you believe. And for always, like I said, having that conversation. Like, yo, I talk to a lot of people. Like, I'm willing to sit at the table with people who don't believe what I believe, but are willing to have an open dialogue against it. You're going to share.
It can be very uncomfortable.
But see, it has to be two people. Like, you share. I have to be able to listen to what you're saying, but you also have to be listening to what I'm saying. And every now and then you'll make a point that I agree with, and every now and then I'm going to make a point that you agree with. It may not change your position, but the problem is we're not having these conversations. Groups of people are only talking to the group of people that represent what they represent. We're talking to like-minded people. We watch news that tells us what we want to hear, because from people who think like we think, we don't watch the other side of the news anymore. Like, everybody is in their own little bubble. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was like, yo, that's why I got to respect the cats like Robbie, man, who is willing to even come on the show and have the debate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it don't be personal.
Him and his debates with Damon.
Him and Damon, boy, that's
those are some doozies.
Yeah. Some of those can't happen on the show, because what they do on Facebook though. But I mean, still, and it's still a healthy debate. And even if I walk away still believing what I believe, and you walk away believing, we still cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to hate me for my views, and I don't have to hate you for your views. And I would rather have someone who doesn't necessarily agree with me on every topic, and that conversation is what helps us build. If I only have guests on here that agree, that sound like me, it's like Trump and Fox. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm just regurgitating what they say, and they just regurgitate what I'm saying, and nobody wins. So, you gain nothing. You gain nothing in sameness. I agree. So, Lorraine,
yes,
any
sir.
comments of today's show, today's guests, anything
I can
you want to share?
No, it was a great show. It was a great show. I have to admit. Let me tell you something. I'm proud of myself. Because you, when this gentleman was talking, when Peter was talking, you told him how you felt about the Republican Party, and how the more he talked, the more it seemed like you don't want to be a Republican, you know. But you told him how you felt and everything like that. I've seen Dr. Bob tell it like it is, especially when you mentioned the guy from CNN,
Joe Pinion.
When you mentioned Joe Pinion, I have seen Dr. Bob sit right here and tell Joe Pinion, I am not voting for you. I'm not supporting you. I can't have anything to do with you because you're a Republican like Trump. And today, we had a guest today, and I had my opinions, and I felt a certain way, and I think I handled it very well, and I'm going to pat myself on the back for that.
And as promised, I said, because I had this conversation, you weren't here when I had it on the air, and Bob, it was me and Bob.
Yeah.
And I asked y'all both the same thing, because again, Bob supports Andre, and there's going to be the opponents of Andre's coming on as well.
Yeah.
And can you sit down with him? Can you sit down with that candidate and give a fair and impartial interview? And I think you did that to the best of your ability, and you definitely tried. But I also said if you had something to say, I would give you an opportunity to say it afterwards, not because that person's time has to be that person's time.
Yeah.
And we have to give them their time to perform their to put out their platform.
But let me tell you, it was difficult. It was difficult. I felt like Dennis the Menace. You know
know.
when they tell Dennis the Menace, don't push that button? Don't push. I wanted to push that button so bad. But I didn't. And I didn't. I gave her the respect and the courtesy she deserved. I gave her the respect and courtesy she deserved.
Louise said it was a great show and you did a good job with the candidate. Cicely Green said you should be proud of yourself, Lorraine Lopez.
Thank you, sis.
Cicely said, I'm happy to watch your growth, Lorraine Lopez.
You see? I'm growing.
And Robbie said he's second what I said too. So that's why. So I said, again, now if you have anything to say or address, I didn't want it to be during her time. So she but now if you got something to say, open the floor to you.
Oh, really? No, I'm just kidding. No. But I am supporting. She has not announced yet, so I cannot say basically. But yeah, I'm supporting Tasha Diaz. Right. And that's who I think is going to be the next city council person in their district.
I was good, and I just want to say it on the air.
You're always good.
The way,
AJ.
No. The way this went down, when Gail called me and said that the girl said she told Gail that, I denied her several times to come on the show because I'm
false statement.
Because I'm supporting Tasha, and that she even asked me one day after church. And none of that happened. We met one time in Charlie Khalil's yard, and I was there to meet with Tasha, actually, to have a conversation with Tasha about, what she was doing in the community, and, she wanted to pick my brain about something. That was the reason I was there. Yeah. She walked up to us, and she introduced herself that she was running. This is last year, June or July. I think it's July, because it was just before your granddaughter's party.
Yeah.
So like 2 weeks
That was in
before.
August.
Right, so it was 2 weeks before that, so that was in July. So I gave her a card like I give every person that's running, but there's no way I was having a con. Then she did send me, and full disclosure, she did send me a message in October that I never saw. But again, I'm not going to have a conversation. And still back in October, the primary was in September. It hadn't moved yet. So why would I have a conversation about scheduling a guest for a primary a year away?
Why would you say you're on the ballot when you're not on the ballot? Why would you say?
Well, that's why I clarified that.
You know what I'm saying?
I clarified that.
Let's be honest. Let's not say half truths. Let's not exaggerate or inflate whatever. For the sake of speaking.
That's why I clarified it, because I didn't know of any Democrats who had been what is the word, certified, or what's the word that they
on the ballot?
Yeah, when the
yeah.
DOE tells you on the ballot.
Yeah, they certify you.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody who's been certified yet. So that's why I was saying, so they certified you? I was like, damn, that's early, that's quick. So I knew I could start expecting that from other people, but that's why I asked that question. Because
I'm glad you did, because I wanted to ask it, and I was like, is it rude to ask? It's not rude.
No, you just got to clarify. We clarified it, so I'm glad that's what we do. We make sure as much as we can that the facts get out. I wish her well. I'm not in that district. I don't have a horse. I can't vote in that election. I do like Tasha, and Tasha's part of the show. So, that's what I say about that. So, but it's just though, I wanted to get that out though. I really, I felt some kind of way about the way she went about it, and then while going through that, still never contacted me. Then she addressed you on Facebook. Actually,
no, she was extremely rude. I'm gonna say it. She was extremely rude.
No, I'm talking about when she on Facebook.
She came in here today, and you even introduced us, and she said, "I see her."
Right, but I'm saying,
and that was just far. No, hello, and I said hello. She said, "I see her."
Well, she didn't address me after going back and forth with Gail.
She came in here with an attitude.
When she came back and forth with Gail, she never got in touch with me. Then she commented to you on Facebook, I'd like to be on the show. Like, you still, after we had
and
this
then she says, thank you, AJ, for inviting me.
Yeah, so anyway, it's good. We got, that's the first candidate of many that we got out the way. You need to, and, the time that she was on, you need to listen to what she said, and if that resonates with you, then that's who you vote for. If you listen to the other candidates and that's what resonates with you, that's who you vote for. 5:45 here. I held out. I have to get ready for my spiritual class. Okay, Cicely. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the whole show. She said, now you can say you have international listeners. We got one listener checking us out from India.
India, all right. Cicely, be safe and I know it's such a beautiful thing you're doing. I'm just so happy that you're there. And just get home safe, okay?
Right.
And we love you so much.
Right. So with that said, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. We also, don't forget, if you haven't heard any of the shows, we had a 3-part special on criminal justice reform. It's on blackwestchester.com. Please check it out. Any of the stories we mentioned this week, a lot of them are on Black Westchester, and we'll be following up. There may or may not be a press conference tomorrow that we will be attending. I haven't got the final word on that. Cicely said, I love you back too. And I just want to thank all our listeners. I mean, they're diverse, and they tune in, and, they give, Jeff's my brother. We don't see eye to eye on everything, but Jeff's my brother. I respect Jeff Monroe for being out there, for always stating his opinion. We've had some heated conversations, but he will always, stand by what he believes is and he will always, he brings his opinion, his point of view, and we need to share ideas and we need to keep talking. But with that said, I want to thank you. You could be doing anything else right now, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is Black Westchester Presents, the People Before Politics radio show, every Sunday 6 to 8 on intermixradio.com. Giving you that real talk for the community since 2014. Until next week, peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it, and are not afraid to say it. 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 And I'm not afraid to say.